I think tags can be just so misleading at times, and if in the past what I tended to do was take what a journalist would call me.
Yeah.
So a journalist would say he's a telephone tourist,
Yeah.
or he's a plasticien sonore,
Yeah.
or sound artist, all these kind of things, and they seem so of their time, or of a certain niche in a sense. And I thought, I'm not really any of these. I think many people would agree with that. They're not one or another thing. Some people clearly are, but I'm not. And because the work I've been making is so varied, the only way to describe myself is a composer. I mean, I make sound design, so I make projects that are literally just designed in sound for exhibitions or in a museum or a physical product. But I compose music for films, I compose music for dance companies, this kind of thing. So I think composer is the clearest phrase that sums up musicality as well. I think if you often say sound artist, people often imagine you're going to get something like a long scraping sound and a drone and a few little crashes and things. That's sound design. So I think composer can be a huge umbrella that embraces all these different genres. It's funny actually, dance is the only constant in my life in a way, beyond washing, supermarket, showering, the standard things. And it's one of the art forms I work with where it comes to me, I don't come to it, in a sense. In releasing product, it's meant that my work is very open in terms of the atmosphere, the texture, the mood of it. So it tends to lend itself quite well to movement. So independent companies started sort of feeding their way towards me. And as the years have passed, it's meant, literally in the last year, I've worked with everyone from Dutch National Ballet, Flanders Royal Ballet, Monte Carlo Royal Ballet. I mean, sort of quite fancy places in a way. You can't help but feel sometimes that you've sneaked in the wrong door, because often they're working with Philip Glass or Schubert or Bach, and suddenly there's this little scanner guy who sneaked his way in to write this music. But it's a really intriguing process. I mean, it's about collaboration, it's about trust. What I really like, it's about me becoming invisible, actually. I don't have to be present, in a sense. I just have to attend on the opening night, often. I don't even have to, but it's a joy to be able to sit in the audience and actually become the person in the audience who's experiencing the work, which is something ordinarily as a musician, as a performer, you don't have the opportunity. So I can take a step away, I can set the sound system up with the engineer, often in the theatre. We can adjust volumes, all these kind of things, the tonality of it. And then I can sit and actually enjoy the piece, walk on afterwards, take a bow, have a soft drink afterwards, meet a few people, go to bed early, and then the work goes off without me, and I don't physically have to be there. And it's a real pleasure in that way, actually. With contemporary dance, the pieces are often booked 18 months to 2 years ahead. So you have a period to work over this. The one aspect I don't understand is when whoever it may be are working on a new advert, they will suddenly ring you on a Friday night or email you and say, do you have anything, because we're putting this advert and it's got to be out by next Wednesday? And I can't help but feel, at what part of the conversation in this creative development have they suddenly reached the end of the week and suddenly thought, you know what we're missing? We don't have any sound. We can look at adverts and think, actually, there's an extraordinary range of amazing soundtracks to adverts that have been scored. I don't know the story behind those, whether it's the Guinness ad. I don't know how that came together. I don't know how the bouncing balls in San Francisco actually came together, the physicality of it. I think, it could be argued that given a little more time, one could have almost a magnificent work of art, as opposed to something that's very hurried and without the composer, the designer, whoever it may be, suddenly thinking, I'm going to have a brain hemorrhage because I'm working through till 4 a.m. to turn this thing around. And I'm always struck that very big advertising companies will, at the very last minute, think about the sound. And part of what I would argue is that if you budgeted and considered the sound early on, it would also show a respect for that element of the work.